Okay, greetings, everybody. Thank you for being here. Again, sorry for starting late. This is a concert of Irish songs about beginnings. And so, first of all, Happy New Year to you. We can hope that this new year is better in many, many different ways than our past year. So, the beginning of a year, also the beginning of a new administration here in the States, a cause for great hope among most people. I must also mention that it's Martin Luther King's day, the holiday, and worth mentioning and honoring, of course. He was instrumental in the beginning of the civil rights movement, of course, in the 50s. So I'd like to start out with a song about inclusion and the wish for a change in the spirit of our country and of the world. It's by Tommy Sands. And here it is. So let the circle be wide round the fireside, and we'll soon make room for you. Let your heart have no fear, for there's no strangers here, just friends that you never knew. We will travel along on the wings of a song, with a mind that is open and free. If we close our eyes to the other side, we're just half of what we could be. So let the circle be wide round the fireside, and we'll soon make room for you. Let your heart have no fear, for there's no strangers here, just friends that you never knew. There are songs to be sung, there are rafters to be rung, there is reason to rosin your bow. There are stories of old, and there's new ones to be told, for to carry away when you go. So let the circle be wide round the fireside, and we'll soon make room for you. Let your heart have no fear, for there's no strangers here, just friends that you never knew. So we'll pass the bottle round, and we'll drink another round, that our friendship will always remain. For how can we tell when we say our farewells, just when we will all meet again? So let the circle be wide round the fireside, and we'll soon make room for you. Let your heart have no fear, for there's no strangers here, just friends that you never knew. There you are. Thank you. And thanks to Tommy Sands for such a wonderful song. If you ever get a chance to see him in concert, don't pass it up. He's one of the most inspiring performers that I have ever seen. An amazing performer, singer, songwriter, and thinker about social change. Anyway, let me go on. Beginnings. Oftentimes, beginnings are very mixed and unclear. But sometimes there is an exact moment that you can point to and say, this was the beginning. And I can do that with the beginning of my singing of Irish songs, of old-style Irish songs. I had been a musician all my life. I'd been a clarinet major in college. I'd played saxophone in a jazz band. I'd played French horn and 8 or 10 other instruments. I sang in a couple of operas. And then I heard my first old-style Irish song. And everything changed. My whole life pivoted from that moment. About 41 years ago now. And it was Dolores Keane singing The Shores of Loch Bran. And the song is it's narrated by someone who is leaving Ireland, and he or she are in their American wake. That is, in the old days, when somebody emigrated, their family would probably never, ever see them again, and it would be just as if they had died. So they waked them. And this is a song about feelings and experiences during that wake, and it mentions several towns in the county Leitrim. Set you down, a loyal comrade, set you down for a while, till I spend my last hours round Erin's green isle. Come lift up your glasses, and we'll drink hand in hand, for tomorrow I'll be leaving the shores of Loch Bran. No more will I wander round Harknet's green hill, or the old spot that I love so well, that was down by the mill, or the old forge where we jumped and played, and of times we ran to inhale the fresh breezes round the shores of Loch Bran. There's my mother and father, you can now hear them cry, with their tears bewailing that would moisten your eye. But I will assist them, please God, if I can, far away from a lovely Erin and the shores of Loch Bran. In the incoming morning I will bid you adieu, to Leitrim, Drumshanbo, and sweet Carrick too. But no matter what fortune I may make far away, my thoughts will be with you by night and by day. My thoughts will be with you as life's course is spent, far away from a lovely Erin and the shores of Loch Bran. Thank you. Thank you. The shores of Loch Bran. I got it from Dolores Keane, and found another verse from another anonymous singer in an Irish pub session many years ago. So, the beginning of a whole new life, in that case, for someone leaving for America. Now, one of the beginnings that probably all of us can pinpoint, or at least pinpoint a major marker along the route of this change, is that of the change of the beginning of adulthood. And needless to say, this rite of passage, this sexual awakening, there are lots of songs written about it. I've selected a few here. The first one is actually just about meeting that person. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this, the moment when you met that special person. This one was from County Down, and it's about the most beautiful young woman in the town of Maharali. One pleasant summer's morning, when all the flowers were springing, oh, nature was adorning, and the wee birds sweetly singing, oh, I met my love near Banbridge town, my charming blue-eyed Sally, oh. She's the queen of the county down, my flower of Maharali, oh. With admiration I did gaze upon this fair-haired maiden, oh. Adam was not half so much pleased when he met Eve in Eden, oh. Her skin was like the lily white that grows in yonder valley, oh. She's my queen and my heart's delight, my flower of Maharali, oh. Her hair in golden ringlets hung, her boots of Spanish leather, oh, her bonnet with blue ribbons strung, her scarlet cap and a feather, oh, like Venus bright she did appear, my charming blue-eyed Sally, oh. She's the one I love so dear, my flower of Maharali, oh. I hope the day will surely come when we'll join hands together, oh, it's then I'll bring my darling home, in spite of wind and weather, oh, and let them all say what they will, and let them reel and rally, oh, for I shall wed the one I love, my flower of Maharali, oh. There you are. Thank you. When I first sang that song in Ireland, I was very fortunate to have Virginia Blankenhorn in the audience, and I did not sing it like that. I sang it in such a way that she right away came up to me and said, "You learned that song from a book, didn't you?" And indeed I had. And she said, no, that's not the way we do it. It's an oral tradition, and you learn from other people singing. And so my version is inspired by Sinead Caher's singing of that song. And she herself comes from County Down. The beginnings of my understanding about how old-style Irish songs are sung and are passed on. Now, sometimes this transition to adulthood happens quite by accident. Here's another little ditty, also from, well, it's not another ditty. This one is more of a little ditty, but I believe it also comes from County Down. A maid going to Cumber her markets to learn, to sell for her mammy 3 hanks of fine yarn. She met with a young man along the highway, which caused this young damsel to dally and stray. Sit down beside me, I mean you no harm. Sit down beside me, this new tune to learn. Here is 3 guineas, your mammy to pay, so lay by your yarn till the next market day. They sat down together, the grass it was green, and the day was the fairest that ever was seen. Ah, the smile in your eyes beats a morning of May. I could sit by your side till the next market day. This young maid went home, and the words that he said and the tune that he sang her still rang in her head. She says, I'll go find him by land or by sea, till he learns me that tune called the next market day. The next market day. And another one of the many, many varieties of images and metaphors for a sexual relationship, a sexual encounter. Sit beside me and learn this new tune. Now, sometimes it's more intentional. And here's a song that I don't even remember where I got it from. I got it way before I became interested in Irish songs. It's similar to the A.L. Lloyd version, but not exactly the same. Anyway, the narrator of the song brilliantly encapsulates all the angst and the self-assurance and also the confusion and insecurity of adolescence, being on the brink of this beginning of adulthood. Also, the rebellious feelings toward a parent. Oh, mother, I long to be married, I long to be a bride, I long to lie by some young man forever by his side, forever by his side. Oh, how happy I would be, for I'm young and merry and almost weary of my virginity. Now, daughter, I was 20 before that I was wed, and many a long and lonesome mile I carried my maidenhead. Oh, mother, that may be, but it's not the same for me, for I'm young and merry and almost weary of my virginity. Now whistle, daughter, whistle, now whistle for a sheep. I cannot whistle, mother, but sadly I can weep. My maidenhead does grieve me and fills my heart with fear. It's a burden, a heavy burden, and more than I can bear. Now whistle, daughter, whistle, now whistle for a cow. I cannot whistle, mother, indeed I know not how. My maidenhead does grieve me and fills my heart with fear. It's a burden, a heavy burden, and more than I can bear. Now whistle, daughter, whistle, now whistle for a man. I'll try the best I can. Oh, you nasty, impudent Jane, what makes you whistle now? Well, I'd rather whistle for a man than for a sheep or cow. Oh, you nasty, impudent Jane, I'll pull your courage down. Take off your silks and satins and put on your working gown. I'll send you to the fields for a making of the hay, with your fork and rake the hay to make, and then hear what you say. Oh, mother, don't be so cruel to send me to the fields, where young men may seduce me, and to them I may yield. For, mother, it's well known that I am full well grown. It's a pity a girl so pretty as I should lie alone. It's a pity a girl so pretty as I should lie alone. There you are. Thank you. Thanks very much. I am glad to see that there are so many of you in the concert who are watching. Thank you very much. I need to apologize for how little interaction there is. And my concert next month, which is going to be on Irish loving, the month of February, I'm planning on inviting everybody on to Zoom so that there can be more interaction. Anyway, thank you for being here, and do put a comment in the chat. You might have to escape from whole screen to find the chat, or scroll down to find it, but leave a comment so that I know you're there. Thanks very much. Now, speaking of haying, it was, of course, a very common practice in rural Ireland for hundreds or thousands of years, actually. Before Sir Walter Raleigh introduced the potato to Ireland, the main staple of the Irish people was milk products. They were a herding culture and depended on their cattle for their sustenance. And even to today, there are many songs about the woman with 2 cows, and how she feels very rich, and how a young man loves a woman so much that he would marry her even if she didn't own a single cow. At any rate, the haying was a very important part of life, and sometimes that transition, that beginning, might have happened more accidentally or circumstantially. Here's a song that I got from Roisin White that describes a scene like that. It being in the month of July, in the rosy time of the year, down by yon shady meadows where the water does run clear, where the lambs and little fishes do merrily sport and play, and the lads and the lassies they go tumbling through the hay. Rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day. Then up comes lovely Johnny with the pitchfork and a rake, and up comes lovely Molly the hay now for to make. And they timed their notes so merrily as the nightingale did sing, and from morning until evening they were at their hay-making. Rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day. Then up come the mowers, the hay for to cut down, with their scythes upon their shoulders and their hair a lovely brown. Then up come the labourers, the hay for to shake out, and when they had it all cut down, they tossed it all about. Rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day. Now it coming on to Saturday when all would get their pay, and all these jolly boys and girls were feeling glad and gay. And the number of these haymakers, as near as I can say, was 25 boys and girls tumbling through the hay. Rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day. When one short year was over and all was past and gone, there were 25 fair maids a-making their sad moan, crying, hush-a-babby, the fair ones did say, and many's the time they wished they'd never tossed among the hay. Rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day, rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-da, rattle-de-dowdle-lumby-day. Sinead. Thank you. Yes, the beginning of parenting, a huge beginning, and a very decisive beginning as well. Now, I'd like to move away from personal beginnings. Here's a song about a technological beginning. It concerns the electrification of rural Ireland, and interestingly enough, it wasn't until 1957 that the upper reaches of the valley of the Salon River in West Cork was electrified. So the Balavorne area and Cooley, and of course, if something significant happened in Cooley, there was a song about it. I got this song from an anonymous singer in a pub session, and it contains one extra verse that Seamus MacMahuna did not publish in his Songs of Cork. The ESB is the Electric Service Board, and I think that's about all the background you'll need. Oh, Johnny dear, and did you hear what all the neighbors say? That the ESB with electricity have landed in Cooley, for to give us light both day and night, with bulbs that will not blow. Oh dear, if we had 'em here some 50 years ago. All the boys got jobs. They left the bogs for the turf, it would not dry. For to dig the holes and stand the poles, they had said they'd have a try. For to drag that wire through bog and mire, oh, it was a holy show. Oh dear, if we had him here some 50 years ago. There was John and Paul and Fuller Black, those engineers of fame. In days gone by they reached so high, they earned that honored name. They could peg a line in the quickest time from Old Coombe to Polnabro. Ah, we had no boys like these three guys some 50 years ago. Now there was Curly Wee in the best of glee. Oh, I wish you'd see him smile. A ladies' man, if e'er there's one, when he dresses out in style, with his swallowtail like a coat of mail, top hat and collar boat. Ah, the girls would cheer if we had him here some 50 years ago. He's our foreman, too, and I'm telling you, oh, he's the right hard man. For you have to work just like a Turk, and who told me 'twas Fat Dan? For to dig the holes and stand the poles with shovel, pick, and crow. Ah, Curly dear, you'd not do here some 50 years ago. There was Dan Cullinan at Manabron from Clonakilty town. He would climb the poles with his iron soles, and he never would fall down. He could climb so high, he could reach the sky and watch the Sputniks glow. We had no Sputniks in our skies some 50 years ago. There was Collins Dan, a man of brawn. He drove a Bedford truck. He was there at 8. He was never late to take the boys to work. He would drive so fast till we bang the hood and tell him to go slow. Oh, his language then would shock all men of 50 years ago. But of all the men, Con Riley again, he stands out on his own. When he sits upon his tractor bright, like a king upon his throne, his looks are bold, like the knights of old. He dreads not friend nor foe. Oh dear, if we had him here some 50 years ago. Our pay clerk Jer, we call him Sir, for he's the right smart man. 'Tis our delight each Friday night when he drives up in his van, with his smiling face and a tatchy case, pay packets filled with dough. Ah, the bells would ring, and we'd crown him king some 50 years ago. There you are. The ESB in Cooley. At the beginning of having more than a kerosene lantern at night. And that session was recorded on a tape that was lent to me by Danny Mikey O'Sullivan, and it was a mother lode of wonderful local West Cork songs. This next song was actually composed in New York City by a vaudeville composer for the music hall, and it worked its way back to Ireland and showed up in Cooley. It also is refers to the attitude behind the verse about Collins Dan, when he was never late, and when he was driving fast to get the boys to work. Some fidgety folks we have all of us met, who are famous for being out too soon for the 2 o'clock dinner or 4 o'clock tea. They are serving it up about noon. Such a whimsical notion has ne'er been my own, but oh, the reverse is my fate. For it always occurs that wherever I go, I am exactly 10 minutes too late. Punctuality is all very proper, I know, but all hurry and worry I hate. For it always occurs that wherever I go, I am exactly 10 minutes too late. When I climb on a hansom or jump on a bus to be nicely on time for a train, I'm all in a fever, I'm quite in a fuss, though I know that my efforts are vain. When I find myself safe in the station at last and believe it's 5 minutes to 8, I observe by the clock that it's 5 minutes past and that I am 10 minutes too late. There was once in my life I fell deeply in love, and I courted in verse and in prose. I obtained a big lock of her hair and a glove, so I made up my mind to propose. But a cab rolled away as I knocked at her door. The answer decided my fate. Sure, my rival came there just 10 minutes before, so that I was 10 minutes too late. Punctuality is all very proper, I know, but all hurry and worry I hate, for it always occurs that wherever I go, I am exactly 10 minutes too late. I could sing for a month if I told it in song, the misfortunes I've had to endure, and this habit that's haunted me all my life long. It will haunt me to death, I am sure, when my fitful career is approaching its end, and I lie in a critical state. Sure, no matter what physics the doctor may send, he will send them 10 minutes too late. 10 minutes too late. Irish time. There is a story about Winston Churchill when he was a very young MP. Now, his family owned several estates in Ireland, and he spent some time here. He spent some time in Ireland. And one time, it is said, he was sitting on a train waiting for it to leave the station, and it wasn't leaving the station. It became later and later, and he finally accosted the conductor and said, asked, when is this train going to leave the station? And the conductor said, oh, soon, don't worry, it'll be leaving soon. And Churchill took offense at the cavalier attitude that this conductor was exhibiting toward him. And he stood up and he said, do you know who I am? And the conductor said, well, sir, I don't care if you're the station master's son. This train will leave when it is good and ready. The station master's son. Okay, well, I would like to finish up with a song referring to one of the beginnings of in Irish history. There are many of them, but I chose this one just because I like the song, and it also exhibits one of the reasons why Christianity was able to take hold in Ireland with no martyrs. However, when we get done with this song, you will realize that although there were no martyrs for Christianity, there were plenty of people that were killed in the process of how Christianity was conducted in Ireland. It's about St. Columkill, sometimes known as St. Columba, and a couple of little background items that would help you understand. It takes place in the 6th century, the story that's explained in this song, when the Brehon laws were in ascendancy. English common law had not taken hold yet, and would not for another 1,000 years. One of the Brehon laws says that if there is a dispute about a calf and who owns the calf, whether it's the owner of the bull or the owner of the cow, that they were explicit in that the calf would belong to the owner of the cow, not the owner of the bull. And one other little piece of information, the four masters were four historians that wrote early Irish history. I think they were in the 13th or 14th century. Columkill then was, as a result of the decisions he made in this song, he was banished from Ireland, and he set up a colony in Iona, on the island of Iona in Scotland, and you can still see the ruins of that, his abbey there. Let me thank you again for being here, and do leave a word in the chat to let me know you're here. Thanks again, and do stop in to visit my website, davidingersonmusic.com. Lots of interesting things there if you like my singing. And I got this song from Nicholas O'Murchu, and he didn't know who wrote it, but obviously it's recently written, but using the rhyming conventions of the old Gaelic poet masters, internal rhymes within the line, but the modern usage of those internal rhymes sometimes moves over into the comical. So here you are, Saint Columkill. Ye students of history, legend and mystery, perhaps you will listen a while to me song of scholars and saints, of courts and of portraits and paints, of courts and complaints, and of deeds right and wrong. It concerns Columkill, whom we speak about still. So great was his skill at the writing of words, and Finian, his friend, he deceived in the end, and the books that they penned, and the crossing of swords. When Finian came home from his visit to Rome, sure he lugged a big tome of a book in his trunk. No meter could measure the height of his pleasure, while he teased with his treasure each curious monk. The ornamentation was such a sensation, the saints of the nation all came for a look, and the text was so thrillin', it caused Columkillen to ask was he willin' to lend him the book. With the book in his sack, Columkill hit the track, and he never looked back till he got to Drumcliff. He went into his cell, and he called for St. Mel, saying, "Rub me down well, for me muscles are stiff. When I'm done with that caper, I'll take to the vapours, then bring me some paper, a quill and a light, and also me noggin for holding me groggin. I think I'll start coggin this very night." With the scratch and the clink of the pen and the ink, old Colum did sink to the depths of a teeth. And unknown to the author, the book bore a daughter, who would later cause slaughter and terrible grief. And if you're still curious, old Finian was furious to learn how this spurious copy arose. On revenge he was bent, so to Tara he went, the High King to present with the tale of his woes. "Now I'm the High King of Eire, from Belfast to Beara. I'm going to declare a decision right now. The judgment I render will favour the lender. Columkill must surrender the calf to the cow." Columkill says, "Bejesus, of all the outrages on saints and on sages, you bet them this day. Your views are so rigid, you terrible idjid. By the cross of St. Bridget, I will not obey." But worse was still comin', for at Cuadrummin, Columkill he did summon his troops for to stand. Looking out o'er the bay, till around Knocknarea came King Diarmid that day with his warrior band. Round the hill with the pyramid came the mighty King Diarmid, with his sword in his hand, mid his laicra so brave. But by the Four Masters they met such disasters that 3,000 of the poor bastards found naught but the grave. As he strode through the corpses of soldiers and horses, Columkill's great remorses were too much to bear. So great was his worry, he left in a hurry to reach Inishmurray, his sins to declare. He to Moilisa he confessed, and just all know the rest. At Moilisa's behest he was forced for to roam. So if you copy this song, it won't be too long till to Iona you've gone, and you'll never come home. There you are. Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope the beginning of this year, after the 6th of January at least, is becomes better and better for all of you. And thank you again for tuning in and being part of my audience.